little sneak attack strike that I wasn't expecting. This snake is anywhere from 10 to 20 years or more old. So it's been around the block. It's a smart snake. And, snakes don't normally do that. I think she kind of knew what she was doing. She struck, she got me on my arm, got an artery, got some veins coming off my artery, and that doesn't do it justice at all. Their teeth they're punctures, so they're like needles, so they puncture down deep, but you can see that top one gets right into my main vein, and the real bad one was on the top of my arm that you can't see, where it's on this. I think it's an artery. I may be wrong. Coming on the top of my arm, and I got very lucky. Normally, when they bite, they latch on, and she would have latched on. She would have wrapped around me, and I would have been in a very, very bad situation being out there by myself. Thank the good Lord, I had him on my side that day. She struck, she bit. I was able to grab her head, and I don't know if it's how I pushed it forward and pulled her off or what, because all their teeth are recurved like fish hooks almost, kind of. Got her right off of me. Grabbed her head, pushed her off of me. She didn't latch on. She was trying to bite again. Maybe that's she didn't think she had a good bite and she was trying to regrip. But I got lucky. Now I have her head. I'm bit. I'm spraying blood all over the Everglades, but I have her head. So now my main thing is controlling her without exerting myself too much. Because every time I'm doing anything, I mean, it's I've never seen blood come out of my body like this.
Right.
Really. My heart's pounding, adrenaline's going, and my main thing is just to stay calm. I don't think I'm necessarily going to bleed to death. I mean, the amount of blood I'm seeing across my mind, but I really don't think I'm going to bleed to death. I'm worried about blacking out from blood loss, heat, exerting myself. What's this snake going to do if I black out? It's going to wrap around me. It's going to kill me, 100%. I don't think it'd necessarily be able to swallow me and eat me, maybe, but it could definitely kill me. So I'm really trying to control my heart rate, trying not to exert myself. The snake's biting at me, going nuts. You can see the video on my YouTube of where I'm just covered in blood. And I have a snake bag with me to put whatever snake I was planning on catching in the bag. This snake is way too big for that bag. So I actually am able to use that bag to tie off my arm and kind of do a little redneck.
While you're holding it down.
Yeah, while I got the head in one hand, tourniquet in my arm. I think it was like this, tourniquet in my arm with the other, and got my arm cinched shut, kind of got the bleeding under control, and I was able to kind of collect myself. This snake is pretty much worn out at this point. She's cold-blooded, so they gas out after about a 10-minute fight. She's like a limp noodle. So I'm kind of just laying on her, catching my breath. Now I got to get her back to my boat where I can put a bullet in her head. Because I don't just walk around out there with a gun. All these snakes I catch alive, put them in a bag, and it's just easier to not have a gun on me.
Jesus.
And
would it be so hard to have a gun right there?
Well, I'm literally crawling through cane and sawgrass, and it gets snagged. You can lose a gun very easily, and it's in the way, and 99.9% of the time, I'm not going to need one. And especially me, I'm the kind of guy where if I come across a 30-foot snake, which pythons don't get that big, say I come across a 30-foot snake, something crazy, I ain't shooting
First person ever.
I want to catch it. That's what I'm all about.
Oh my God! This is you after this thing bit you.
Yeah, this is right where I'm getting ready to try to tourniquet my arm.
Holy shit, man! And you're filming this.
Yeah, I got my shoulder cam on, and then I put a GoPro on the ground. And normally I don't always get great. I mean, I get pretty good footage with my cell phone, my shoulder cam, but I was set up this day, and I knew I had my GoPro running when this thing bit me.
Are you cinching up at the top of your arm, above the wound?
Above the wound. Above the wound. Yep, above the wound. And, you know, to be honest with you, the first thought that went through my mind when that thing bit me and I have all these cameras going and I see all this blood is this video's definitely going viral. Just don't die.
Well, it would really go viral if you died.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have.
Yeah.
Found GoPro footage.
So now you have to carry this thing out while you're holding onto its head.
Yeah.
Wow, she really is like a limp noodle.
While it's still alive. She
really is like a limp noodle.
Yeah, she's gassed out. She is done.
That's insane.
She is done.
That's shit right there, son. Not a lot of human beings are capable of doing that. And just keeping it together. It's creeping me out just watching you hold on to that thing as you're walking through the woods with it.
What I think it is more than anything, and, you know, I hate to kind of take away from myself, but it's what we're taught as kids. You know, we're taught to be fearful of snakes, that they're this evil, dangerous thing. And I can't tell you, I think that's why I've been so successful on social media, is these people, they just freak out watching these snakes. You know, they can't believe it, and they're not really that crazy. They're really not.
I think you're just used to them. I think they're really fucking crazy. That's the reason why they're only in one state like this. Look at the size of that thing, man. That thing's enormous, and they eat alligators.
Oh yeah,
I think they'd eat you.
I've rescued 3 alligators from pythons.
Wow.
That's actually how I started my social media. Is I made the news, went kind of viral for rescuing an alligator from a python. I had a guy out on a guided hunt with me. He recorded it, videotaped it, and it, you know, made the news. And, a local clothing brand, Flowgrown in Florida.
Are you okay?
Made my Instagram, made my social media, and was like, "Dude, you gotta start."
Sounds like you need a
We'll send you
Snickers.
clothes. And that's really how it all got started.
That's great.
Sponsored by
That's how it got
Snickers.
started. That's amazing.
Snickers.com.
Look at these things.
And I actually, this was the smallest of the 3 I've rescued. It was the 3rd one that we finally got on video, because I never used to really record anything.
Imagine how fucking confused alligators must be. Like, I thought we were at the top. We were at the top forever.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
2023, times are changing.
I'm calling a lifeline package in.
I know when all of you look at me, you see a high-caliber, top-tier, top-shelf athletic specimen, the likes of which science can't fully explain yet. Just a succulent slab of meat, an imposing frame that's been blessed by the gods at Mount Olympus. So naturally, this leads people to question, what sport do I play? Because obviously, you're not packing puppies like these without letting them off the leash to play a little bit in a high-octane competition. And the sport that I play actually surprises people for some reason, which I don't fully understand, because the answer is basketball. I don't know what's so shocking about that. If I had to spitball a guess, it might be because I'm 5'6", so a little on the shorter side, and basketball's typically thought of as a tall person sport. So people will raise an eyebrow and ask if I'm joking. Like, there's no way you play basketball at 5'6". You could literally wipe the team's ass standing up. Like, what do? Just dry their sweat? And you're right, I think there's a lot of basketball players I legitimately could suckle the feet of while I'm fully standing, but it doesn't matter. Because I have a little something called technique.
Oh my God.
Fundamental. Damn it. I'm out there proving that even at 5'6", you could be an elite basketball player. The thing is, I played basketball for pretty much my entire life, but over the last 9 years, I got hit with a serious case of old as fucking lazy bone-itis. So those two, in conjunction with one another, just caused me to kind of drop it. So I took about 9 years off from basketball, but as most of you know, over the last 3 or 4 months, we've all been getting back into playing pickup games every Thursday. We have a great group of guys. We usually get like 15 or so bodies out there, and we just go hog wild, trying to remember how beautiful the game of basketball can be, trying to reclaim our former glory on the court. And that brings me to a promise that I made a few times on stream, but still haven't fulfilled. I said that eventually we'd start streaming our basketball games, or at the very least filming them for basketball content. because we do think it'd be hype, especially if we could get other creators out there and just do 5v5, the Moist Squad versus whoever else wants to play. We think that'd be really fun, but just never really bothered to set up the cameras to do that yet, especially because a lot of us haven't played in a while, and it might be a little embarrassing to be caught with yourself out there. So we've just been focusing on getting better and just having fun. But tonight, decided to film a couple of our games. We didn't play as much as we normally do because it's Florida, and today was a 115-degree heat index with humidity that was so fucking... So, we didn't play mini games tonight. It's an outside court. Also, we only set up one camera on one hoop because if we did another one on the other side with the direct sunlight on it, it would have melted the camera, which is something we actually had happen like a month ago. So it's not the best footage. So I'm not going to just drop... But you know what's better than a great offense? And even this time around, but it is...
Are you fucking kidding me? You're showing me your pickup game?
This is your champion.
Now, before diving into like some plans we have for basketball content in the future, I do want to mention that we actually have an extremely talented group of guys that play basketball with us every week. It's super fucking fun. Like, for example, Matt. Matt initially didn't even go to college because he was too busy pursuing a professional basketball career until an injury took that dream away from him. Then he reluctantly went to college. Another player that we have come out every Thursday, his name's Tori. Tori, I think, was a D2 high-level basketball player. I can't remember if it was D1 or D2, but he did play college ball. We also have Antron out there, who was a professional football player, but also plays basketball. Like, we have a very strong group of guys. And it's a lot of fun because it's all different ranges of talent. We have people like that, and then people like me. A high school basketball player who hasn't really touched the rock in quite some time. But it feels good to be back. So, the plans for basketball are more than just like occasional basketball related content. We actually do have like a goal in mind. And it's something we only just recently learned about and are kind of striving for. Not really putting a whole lot of eggs in the basket for it, but it's a really fun dream. I don't know how many of you know about this, but ESPN actually runs an annual tournament called the Basketball Tournament, where it's an open tournament, $1 million competition. And anyone can join. I think it's vote-based. I'm not entirely sure exactly how it works. But it just recently wrapped up. But we are getting prepared for the next time around to see if there's any chance that we can get out there and just get fucking stuff. The talent on this circuit here is literally like either retired professionals or people that played college basketball like Syracuse and didn't quite make it to the NBA. I think like one of the number one players in this tournament last time was Jimmer Fredette. So, you know, I wouldn't say that any of us are bad at basketball, but I also think there's a huge discrepancy between us and Jimmer Fredette. But, you know, you give us enough time in the hyperbolic chamber, and you never know what we might be able to accomplish. So we think it'd be like a fun goal to somehow enter into this tournament. We don't know all of the rules and regulations around it, but it would be really hype. But regardless, that's just kind of like a pie-in-the-sky kind of wild idea that we think would be enjoyable with basketball down the line. But in the meantime, we'll probably stick with just filming the occasional pickup game now and then. And if any creators ever think it'd be fun to play us 5v5, we could definitely work on setting something like that up, because we do think that would be enjoyable shit too. So yeah, this was just me fulfilling a promise I've made on stream a couple times where I said we'd film some of the games. And I only partially fulfilled that promise because we filmed a game, basically. Well, we filmed like 2 games, but the first one was very, very slow moving, so didn't want anyone seeing any of that footage. And since we only filmed 1 hoop, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to just post this game in its entirety either, because then you couldn't see the other team. Definitely pretty scuffed, but in the future we will make it much better. This, I really just wanted to get out here to confirm that we will do basketball stuff, because I've been getting asked a lot about it recently because I've been talking about it so much recently. So yeah, that's really about it. Hopefully I've made you a believer that I'm actually not dog shit at basketball, but there's definitely room for improvement. That's for sure. That's about it. So yeah.
So, last week, the Twitch streamer Kai Cenat quite literally shut down New York City for a PlayStation 5 and gift card giveaway. And now, he's in a lot of trouble, because this could actually cost him a lot of money and even some time behind bars. So, to give you a quick recap of what happened, on August 2nd, Kai went to his stream to announce a PlayStation 5 and gift card giveaway. He said he wanted as many people as possible to meet him at this park in New York.
On Friday, we'll be doing a huge giveaway. What giveaway are you going to do? Yes, it will be a meetup. Yes, I'm going to drop the location. And yes, we're giving away PCs. We'll be giving away PS5s. We'll be giving away microphones for the PC, keyboards for the PC, webcams for the PC, gaming chairs for the PC, and those gift cards basically right here, okay? Right here. We will be giving away PCs and all that.
Then, obviously, most of you guys have seen all the chaos that ensued. It was something straight out of a zombie movie. People were dancing on top of cars. People were doing WWE moves on top of cars. They were looting, fighting, twerking, the whole 9 yards. It was just absolute chaos. The police declared it a riot pretty much right as the giveaway started. They sent like 600 officers to calm this all down, and that naturally didn't calm things down. It actually kind of escalated things. A bunch more fights broke out, and here we are. Then when finally things calmed down, the police had a press conference where they charged Kai with 2 counts of inciting a riot.
We're going to charge Kai Cenat.
Yes. With the influencer's charged, he's going to be charged with multiple counts, at least 2 counts of inciting a riot, unlawful assembly, and a few other charges,
which both carry a maximum penalty of 1 year in jail. And that's for each count. Now, the other question is he going to get that? Probably not. But I also don't think this is his biggest worry, as there's probably going to be a lot of lawsuits coming his way due to all the damage. I would definitely be worried about the insurance companies or anyone who got hurt or had their property stolen or damaged during all this. But on Wednesday night, Kai went live and made his first response to it, so I thought we'd check that out together.
Chat, being from New York, it has literally always been, ever since I started everything like this, bro, it has been my dream to want to give back to the community that made me who I am, bro. That's always been my whole, I feel like everybody can, if whoever is in a big position could agree that wherever you come from, you want to give back to your community and you want to do nice things. You feel what I'm saying? But after Friday, bro, I've come to realize the amount of not only power but influence that I have on people. You feel what I'm saying? I've come to realize that, bro, and I'm saying that to say this. I am beyond, bro, disappointed. Beyond disappointed in anybody who became destructive that day, bro. 100%, bro. That's not cool. None of that is cool, bro. You feel what I'm saying?
If you really wanted to give back to New York City, I'm not sure the most efficient way of doing so would be creating a riot and throwing a couple PlayStation 5s and gift cards into it. I feel like there's plenty of ways to give back to a community without causing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damages. I realize, though, he didn't do this on purpose, but he did say on a previous stream that he wanted a lot of people there. And this is without contacting police or having the correct crowd control measures.
Yeah, a lot of people gonna feel like that. They said more. NYPD gonna be on. NYPD gonna pull up. Oh, okay, bro. Alright, chat, we go all out. I'm telling you, bro, this is gonna be a movie. 14 Union Square Park, right in front of the Whole Foods, bro. You feel me? It's right. You gonna see this big green sign?
So he wanted enough people there for a police response, so when the police responded, he went surprise Pikachu. But back to his response.
And I want people to know that none of that was my intention. You feel what I'm saying? None of that. I had good intentions for this whole thing, and none of that was my intentions, bro. Not only that, but I don't condone any of the things that went on that day. None of that is cool. I'm seeing random videos of people getting sturdy on people's cars. And I'm asking myself, when I'm watching the video, why? Like, why?
I fully believe that. Why anyone would go on to smash a car for attention is beyond me. Dudes wanted to look cool in front of Kai's audience, and now Kai has to deal with the consequences of their actions.
You feel what I'm saying? I'm really like, why? Like, when we do things like this, you feel what I'm saying? When we do things like this, it not only needs to be safe, but it needs to be fun. Like, anything we do like this has to be safe and fun. We can't be just running around destroying this and destroying that. And I want people to understand, like, you feel me? I done seen a lot of things with the news, with the media, with everybody that's just discovering me. I want y'all to know, like, none of that is how I wanted any of this to go, bro. I had straight good intentions, and I didn't think that it was gonna be what it was. That is crazy. You feel what I'm saying? And I also like, I spoke to myself, bro. I also asked myself. I said, yo, I'm not gonna lie, Kai, you feel what I'm saying? Next time you want to do any of these things like this, you need to hit up the right people, make the right calls. Okay, I need to be able to hit the right people, make the right calls, and do it the correct way. Because as a whole, bro, we all have to do it. We all have to do better. As a whole, bro.
Hey, I mean, at least he's learning from the situation. I don't believe he thought it was going to get as bad as it got, because I don't think anyone thought that 7,000 to 10,000 people would show up in person to a PlayStation 5 giveaway. But he does go on to address the charges.
As an update onto what's going on, y'all know, y'all seen it. I'm being hit with multiple charges. Y'all know that already, though. For me streaming, I might have to chill for a little bit due to the fact that, one, I got court dates that I gotta appear to. My first court date, this August 16th. That's my first court date. I got things that I actually have to, I have things that I actually have to handle. You feel me? I got charges and stuff like that, so I have to go to court and I have to handle a lot of things. And yeah, that's about it. I probably won't be. Y'all not gonna be seeing me for a little bit. And it's a little bit, I mean like a little bit. It's not going to be no long, bro. It's not going to be nothing long.
So essentially, he's being forced to stop streaming because this is going to be a massive battle for him. This is probably going to take a lot of his time. Honestly, though, I'm surprised this happened in the first place because I thought he had a whole team behind him. Was there nobody on his team that had a fully developed frontal cortex to be like, well, maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we should give this away on stream, and then if we wanted to help the New York City community, donate some money to after-school programs or sports clubs. But he did also say he doesn't think that he's going to be gone for too long.
It ain't going to be nothing long. I'm trying to get through this and stuff like that and handle everything the correct way. And I gotta do what I do, chat. That's about it. You feel what I'm saying? And anybody worried about me, don't be worried for me. You feel what I'm saying? I can do things. Anything is possible through Christ. So I'm just been praying. I've been, I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ and God. So I know He got my back through this whole thing. And I'm praying for anybody who's been affected by what went on. That's not cool. You feel what I'm saying? And those who did the things that they did and messed up a lot of stuff, bro. Y'all need serious counseling, bro. I don't know what is wrong with some of you that do what they did. And I want y'all to know, I'm going to end it off by saying this, bro.
Well, I mean, I wish this guy the best of luck. Hopefully this mistake won't take too much of his time in streaming, but hey, YouTube thinks that you're going to enjoy that video, so I recommend you guys checking it out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Well, a rabbit's been pulled from a hat, and now I've got egg on my face. In a move that very much surprised yours truly, many automakers have announced their commitment to adopting the formerly proprietary Tesla charging connector for their North American market vehicles. A connector which, assuming things keep going in the direction they appear to be going, is on its way to being an honest-to-goodness industry standard, complete with its own SAEJ number, J3400. And now it's your turn to be surprised. I'm all for it. Yes, although I am personally quite annoyed by this outcome, that's only because it's a hit to my ego. I really didn't think this was going to happen, which you can definitely tell by some of my past assertions. But now that we know more of the details, assuming they hold true, which is a monumentally important caveat to this entire video, this is welcome news. Ultimately, I just want the industry to coalesce around a single charging plug. And, well, I was wrong about which one would win the plug wars. At least, probably. The dust hasn't quite settled yet, and things could change, but honestly, the Tesla connector is better. Take note, Tesla fans. I said it. And with what has recently come to light, there really isn't a downside to the rest of the industry adopting the connector standard hereafter known as the North American Charging Standard, or NACS, or NACS. I have 4 things I'd like to accomplish in this video. First, explain what makes the NACS connector uniquely suited to use here on this continent. And just to lay this out up front, this is only a North American development and standard. If you're somewhere else, this video doesn't really apply to you. Second, I want to talk about the change to the standard that's making me pretty chill about all this. Third, I want to address why automakers are making the switch, and why they probably shouldn't count their chickens before they hatch. And fourthly, I will get a little bit on the spicy side and share my broader thoughts and opinions on the state of the third-party charging industry. I will freely admit that on the whole, Tesla always had a better plug, but I really hope we don't try and copy everything they do. First things first, what is NACS? Why is it different from the industry standard known as CCS? And why is North America uniquely suited to use it? To save time, I'm going to keep this explanation pretty surface level. There are links to other videos of mine if you want to learn more. This is the charging port on my car. This connector is generally known as J1772, and it's for AC charging. It has 5 pins, 3 big ones for handling power, line 1, line 2, and ground, plus 2 small ones for communication and control. This connector has been around since 2009, and it supports a maximum of 19.2 kilowatts of power, though few cars actually accept that much. Due to practical constraints, charging through this port just isn't that fast, though it doesn't need to be. The whole idea of AC charging is that it's really simple to implement. What we call car chargers are really just smart power cords which deliver the same AC line voltage that runs through your walls to the port on your car. The actual charger module, meaning the thing with electronics that converts the AC power
We'll move. Come
to
back.
direct
Let's retreat.
voltage for charging the battery pack.
There's someone from your right. Someone from your right. We can spin all the way around them.
That makes wiring up a new AC charge point for an electric car very straightforward and inexpensive. And it will work with any car, regardless of battery pack size.
Let them go to that battle and let them all
voltage, belt
fuck themselves up, and we're
chemistry,
coming
or
around on the back of the side of these guys.
The charge speeds you can get through this port are more than enough for charging at home or work, where your car will sit for several hours at a time. But they aren't anywhere near fast enough for taking a road trip. Battery packs of the size found in modern electric cars need something on the order of 150 kilowatts to charge quickly, and even more if we want charge times to get down to the 15-minute range. Luckily, we thought of a solution. Under this little flap lie 2 gigantic power pins. These are there to facilitate high-powered direct...
Where the fuck did I even get shot from?
And to accomplish this, we in fact do hook the car up to an external battery charger. An off-board DC fast charger will connect through these pins directly to the car's battery pack. That charger can be figuratively and literally huge, with a massive grid connection capable of delivering 350 kilowatts or more. Using a defined signaling protocol on the communication pins of the charge connector, the car's battery management system will request a specific DC voltage and current from the external charger, and that charger can be pulled to use up the pack. With this technology, the only meaningful limit to charge time is, well, the state of battery technology. The addition of these DC pins gives this charge connector its name, CCS, which stands for Combined Charging System. It is a J1772 AC port combined with 2 DC pins below it. In Europe, this same exact augmentation was done to the IEC 62196 Type 2 connector, also known as the Mennekes connector. Although the North American CCS1 and the European CCS2 share a lot of the underlying technologies, the AC portion of the connectors are different, thanks largely to the fact that European homes are often wired for 3-phase power, which is just not a thing that happens here. Every consumer device, including large electrical appliances like kitchen ranges or, yes, electric vehicle charging equipment, is single-phase only. So our AC charging connector only supports single-phase power. And yes, I know about J3068, but I'm ignoring it for this video because for all practical purposes, it just doesn't matter. Look that up if you want to. But then, there's Tesla. When the Model S was getting planned, CCS didn't exist yet. In fact, in the very earliest days, neither did the J1772 connector. So Tesla came up with their own thing. And this is that. Or at least one side of it anyway. This is an adapter I have to switch between Tesla's connector and J1772. And what you're seeing here is the inlet side of the connector, normally found on a car. If I manage to make it to a destination charger location to get footage of the plug side, you're seeing that now. Now you'll notice it has the same 5 pins as the standard J1772 connector. They even have identical functions. But 2 of them are a heck of a lot larger than the rest. They're not just girthy, they're also quite long, about 30 millimeters. If you haven't already guessed what's going on here, Tesla did a sneaky and uses the same 2 power pins for both AC and DC fast charging. These power pins are massively oversized for AC charging, as in that case, line voltage is sent to the car's onboard charger through these pins, which does the DC rectification and voltage boosting before sending it into the battery pack, just like a car equipped with J1772. But when DC fast charging, or as Tesla calls it, supercharging, a contactor in the car closes, which shunts these big pins to a set of beefy cables that go right to the car's battery pack. And the external supercharger now shoves electrons in, all on its own. It's a very clever system, I must admit. And importantly, it only really works because we only have single-phase AC charging here. The NACS connector is conceptually identical to the AC-only J1772 connector. In fact, for AC charging, it even uses the same signaling protocols on the 2 communication pins. The only difference between these 2 plugs is the hilariously large AC pins, which do DC double duty. This scheme couldn't really be done while also supporting 3-phase charging, at least not without redesigning the Type 2 connector. And that's why the Type 2 connector would get the exact same DC pin augmentation that we see here with CCS1. Now, as clever as Tesla's idea is, it's not entirely without downsides. With CCS, the AC and DC sides of the connector, and thus car, are completely isolated. The AC pins go to the onboard charger, and the DC pins go to the battery pack, so it's impossible for the wrong voltage to go to the wrong place. Combining them, as Tesla did, requires a little more consideration on the car side to make sure wires don't get crossed. But, in fairness, it's not all that much. Adding a contactor to the onboard charger would allow you to isolate it when DC charging, or you could also design the onboard charger to tolerate having DC pack voltage on its input side when fast charging, which is what Tesla currently does, if my understanding is correct. But combining those 2 functions also has a lot of upsides, the largest one being the smaller connector size, which makes handling and inserting the plug much easier, especially on DC charging. Making things even easier is the connector's shape.
How do I see how many kills I have?
Helped even further by chamfering on the inlet side. The latching mechanism here is also flat out much better. If there's one thing I've never liked about J1772, it's the external mechanical latch that floats above the actual mating surface of the connector. It wasn't much of a problem in the early days, but when DC fast charging came along, a means of locking the connector to the car became necessary. That was done by way of a simple bodge. Often a pin will stick out just above the latch, preventing it from moving. I mean, it does work, but it's never felt all that secure, and we have seen plenty of broken latches on public charging equipment, which is annoying at best, and a safety hazard at worst, as it will prevent the connector from actually locking. The NACS uses a much more elegant system. There's a recess, or hole, on the plug that a pin on the inlet side will catch. It's a lot more mechanically robust, and eliminates moving parts from the plug side. The car still needs some sort of actuator to release that pin so you can remove the plug, but so does CCS, so it's no worse. The only thing that I find a bit unsettling about this latch design is that a dead car could potentially become stuck to a charger if it can't release the handle. But there are ways around that, like the manual release lever you'll find in my car behind this little cover in the cargo area. Note to every car designer and engineer ever, clearly marked manual overrides for electronic latches are a good thing, and for the love of all things holy, please do not design them out to reduce bill of materials. Thanks! Now, before I move on to the section where I talk about the change that's making me pretty chill about the switch to NACS, I'm sorry, but I do just need to refresh everybody on the timelines here. I can't help it. I didn't think other automakers would be interested in Tesla's little connector for two related reasons. First, this was proprietary, and Tesla retained control over it until late last year. And yes, people are going to argue with that in the comments and insist that Tesla offered the use of their connector and indeed charging network as far back as 2014. But that offer came with many strings attached, which is demonstrated most clearly by the fact that nobody ever took them up on it. And second, because it was proprietary until last year, we didn't really know anything about its capabilities, other than what Tesla was kind enough to tell us. CCS, meanwhile, had published specifications. Wild, I know. And guess what? It was more powerful than Tesla's connector had demonstrated. In fact, in terms of charging stations that are actually on the ground, it still is. The DC pins of CCS can handle 500 amps, and they were designed to support up to 1000 volt charging, which was crucial for automakers considering 800 volt battery architectures.
Check.
High current and high voltage allowed for 350 kilowatt CCS stations. They've been on the ground, albeit in small numbers, since 2017. Meanwhile, Tesla's version 3 supercharger, which only supports a maximum of 250 kilowatts, didn't come out until 2019. So, for literally half a decade at this point, the choice for other automakers was between a connector controlled entirely by one of their competitors, which had only ever demonstrated 250 kilowatt charging, and a connector controlled by an industry standards body that is spec'd for 40% higher power output, supported 800 volt battery architectures, and all while retaining compatibility with the existing level 2 AC charging equipment. It was perfectly rational, and I'd argue correct, for other automakers to just ignore Tesla's connector. However, three significant barriers have now fallen. First, Tesla actually, for realsies, released details on their connector's design. Last November, they announced that today we are opening our EV connector design to the world. We invite charging network operators and vehicle manufacturers to put the Tesla charging connector and charge port, now called the North American Charging Standard, on their equipment and vehicles. I will add that whether they've actually released their patents on the connector is unclear. I am not a lawyer and my search was inconclusive, but given that the SAE is taking on the connector as a standard, I will assume in good faith that they have. Second, and relatedly, we now know the connector can support 1000 volt charging. This was a giant open question for years, because to this day, none of Tesla's cars have 800 volt class battery packs, and so we've never seen their connector pushed beyond about 500 volts. Through a small and backward compatible revision to its design, which insets the conductors a little further into the connector body, it now does indeed support 1000 volts. Interesting that they had to redesign it though, isn't it? But at least they did. I am still very skeptical of Tesla's claim that the connector can handle 900 amps, but it does seem capable of handling 500 just fine, so it is at least on par with what CCS can do. The third thing that's changed is what's making me most at peace with the push to standardize on NACS. Going forward, NACS will speak the same language that CCS does. Up till now, Tesla superchargers communicated with Tesla cars in an entirely locked down and proprietary fashion. But as they have made moves to turn their plug into a real standard, they've decided to add support for the same communication protocols that CCS uses. That means that, eventually, the only difference between a car with a CCS port and a NACS port will be the port itself. And that means simple adapters can be used to switch between connector types. As of this writing, that's what the companies that have announced their intention to switch charging ports will be providing to their customers with CCS-equipped cars. Once a few things regarding billing and whatnot get sorted, they'll be able to rock up to a Tesla supercharger using the adapter and juice up. Now, as great as this is, there are some cans of worms here. Because CCS separates the AC and DC sides, drivers will need to carry two adapters, one for DC fast charging and the other for AC charging, like this one. That is a little confusing and leads to some potential concerns regarding what would happen if you use the wrong adapter. However, there are a lot of checks that happen both on the car side and the charger side before contactors get closed, so this may not be a problem at all in practice. But it is something to be aware of, and I hope a sensible means of detecting that the wrong adapter is being used is put in place. The other can of worms has to do with how much current such an adapter can safely handle. They're going to have relatively short links inside of them, and they could in theory simply be huge aluminum rods or something like that, so I am pretty certain handling 500 amps won't be too much of an ask. But that leads us to the other thing. Tesla has in the past and to this day sort of just ignored the conventional current limitations of a given conductor. Now, I've actually come around to agreeing with that practice. A hard and fast current limit makes sense for the wiring in your home that runs within walls and may span dozens of meters. But you can safely exceed a current limit for short periods of time, and often by rather large margins when the conductors are relatively short. Tesla's approach has been to put temperature sensors in strategic places and monitor how hot those conductors are getting. And so long as they're not getting too hot, then they go ham. I used to think this was pretty haphazard, but I'm no longer bothered by it. Again, Tesla stands. Mark that down. But in a land of adapters, I can see that strategy becoming problematic. Maybe the thermal conductivity of the links within the adapter body will be sufficient for sensors in the handle and car to detect overheating, and thus I have no reason to worry. But maybe it would be smarter to know whether an adapter is in use and limit the current to some safe number. Won't really matter to me since I have an 800 volt car which peaks at about 300 amps despite sucking down 240 kilowatts. But I figured I'd bring this up in case nobody's thought of it. Anyway, with a reiteration of the monumentally important caveat from the beginning, so long as the communications remain the same and passive adapters will allow people to charge on either plug, there's really not much of a reason to be upset here. And I'm genuinely not. Eventually, I'll grab one of those adapters if I need to, and having a CCS-equipped car will be nothing but a minor inconvenience. Assuming, that is, CCS is in fact going away, which is likely but by no means certain quite yet. So now, why are automakers suddenly itching to make this switch? Well, there's a pretty simple answer. The CCS charging networks available here in the US all kind of suck. There's only one complete network which lets you travel anywhere in the country, which isn't even that complete, sorry the Dakotas, and that network doesn't have a great track record. I've personally never been stranded by it, but back in April, I went on a trip in which, to start the chargers, I had to sign out of the Electrify America app and sign back in at every single stop. And more than half of those stations had broken NFC readers, so I couldn't just activate the chargers by tapping my phone. It wasn't great, and that experience is happening to far too many owners of new EVs. Meanwhile, the Tesla supercharger network largely just works. It's not perfect, no, but most locations have far more redundancy than any EA station does, and the overall experience is excellent. However, I think automakers are in for a surprise if they're not careful here. The problems that the CCS networks have experienced have almost nothing to do with the connector itself. In my travels with my Hyundai, I have experienced almost no charging issues. Once I manage to activate the charger, that is. So long as I can get to that point, which is often a lot harder than it needs to be, I simply plug it in, and it has worked with only a few exceptions. And every one of those was due to the haphazard way that CCS stations are configured, which led to a poorly aligned plug, which didn't latch correctly. While that itself is a problem, it's the least of the issues we see. The main problems with CCS networks are poor maintenance, horrible uptime, largely terrible apps which are often the only way to start charging, and last but definitely not least, a lack of interoperability testing and certification when new car models get released. Let me go through those one by one, starting with maintenance. The fastest DC fast chargers have liquid-cooled cables. That allows those cables to have thinner than normal conductors, which in turn allows them to be lighter and easier to handle. This is really neat, but loads and loads of chargers are out there in which the liquid cooling part is broken. When that happens, the charger will derate itself to stay within the safe limits of the conductors, which tends to result in abysmally slow charging speeds. Making this even worse, until quite recently, some networks didn't even warn you that the charger you were about to plug into had cable cooling issues, so it was a fun guessing game whether you would get the advertised charging speeds or not. Electrify America has finally begun indicating which chargers might be power limited in the app, but I can attest to this not being entirely accurate. That's certainly the most common maintenance issue that I've experienced, but it's by no means the only one. There's a lot of equipment out there with power modules that are starting to fail, leading to reduced output, weird surging behavior, or entirely not off chargers. Cables will get cut by vandals and the response can be far too slow. As mentioned before, latches on the connector can fail, which I've seen several times, and installation breakdown can lead to failed isolation tests, which takes individual cables or entire chargers offline. This sort of wear and tear is to be expected, but apparently most charging providers just don't have the maintenance teams or infrastructure to actually take care of it in a timely fashion. Relatedly, there's the whole uptime thing. As I write this, 3 stations around Chicago are entirely offline. That's not great, and plenty more locations have at least one charger that is dead. That's not a big deal when your site has 8 or more chargers, but most of Electrify America's locations have only 4. A single charger going down in one of those locations results in a 25% loss in capacity, which is just not acceptable. Now, in fairness to EA, they started their infrastructure rollout back when charging equipment manufacturers were just getting started themselves. So they have a whole bunch of legacy hardware from various different companies out there, and that makes their operation uniquely challenging. But that by no means is reason to give them a pass. Then we have the apps. Whether they refuse to keep you signed in or just flat out don't work, it's not a great feeling to rely on a Jenga tower of an IT stack and working cell service to make it to your next location. Electrify America does at least include credit card readers on their fast chargers, but they didn't pick the most robust of the units, which was brave, considering their chargers are largely just out in the elements. App activation might be a necessary evil for banks of level 2 chargers, but given how monumentally expensive DC fast charging equipment is, in my opinion, a robust credit card reader, or
You can get me, because the other dude's fighting inside the ring.
NFC reader for contactless payments or Apple Pay or whatever, is a must. And if you're thinking plug-in charge is a great solution, well, I have differing thoughts, which I'll get to later. And then we have the interoperability testing, or lack of it. In part because the CCS protocol is a hodgepodge of weirdness, there are many opportunities for bugs to show up in the back and forth between car and charger, which can lead to a failed charging session. And for whatever reason, automakers have largely just left third-party charging providers to find those bugs all on their own. Which is very dumb and bad. Everybody should be loaning their latest models to the likes of Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint, etc. before they even make it to customers. But apparently, this rarely happens, and those charging providers have to find somebody with the latest cars and hope they'll be kind enough to swing by for testing. So, great job, automakers! You did this to yourself. At least for fun. I know I'm repeating myself here, but the CCS connector itself had nothing to do with these issues. Simply putting a NACS plug on the end of the same cable won't magically fix the charger on the other end or the company that runs it. The woes of CCS are almost entirely due to bad management on all sides that doesn't seem to understand the importance of providing a reliable and good charging experience. That's what Tesla gets right, and Tesla does indeed deserve massive kudos for sidestepping this problem and building out their own charging infrastructure. But that's the reason I'm cautioning automakers and Well, really everyone hoping the NACS connector will be some sort of panacea. It will be nice to have a better connector, sure, but the connector is not what's wrong with the third-party charging industry, not by a long shot. Still, I welcome the switch and think it presents a true best-of-both-worlds situation. My beef with the Tesla connector and their whole charging ecosystem was always that it was a proprietary connector which functioned, intentionally or not, doesn't matter, to lock out any other vehicles from using their infrastructure. I also didn't exactly like the idea of the same company that sells you the car being the one to sell you its fuel to use it, and was super concerned that a landscape of Tesla only, Ford only, Volkswagen only charging spots would become the norm. I was honestly pretty disturbed by how few people seem to realize what a dark place we'd be in if we allowed that to happen. And that's why I was totally cool with letting charging networks grow organically and compete with one another. Regrettably, that just didn't happen fast or well enough. When we get right down to it, the CCS rollout was botched and way too slow. And since there really aren't that many CCS chargers in the wild yet, if there's a time to abandon that connector, it's now. I was saying that about Tesla's connector back in 2018 because I figured CCS station rollout would accelerate beyond the pace at which Tesla could go, but it just didn't happen. I was wrong, and here we are. Now that the SAE is taking NACS on and Tesla has apparently relinquished control of it, combined with the fact that they're inviting other drivers to use the supercharger network, well, my beefs are gone. Mostly, anyway. I realize I've left a pretty big hole in the script when it comes to competition among third-party charging providers. To make up for that, here's some footage of puppies. I might have made it sound as though switching connector types means other automakers are handing a charging monopoly to Tesla. However, that's definitely not what's happening. In the short term, I imagine Tesla's going to be a very popular charging network. But in the long run, this is ultimately good for competition and consumers. CCS networks have been so terrible precisely because they don't compete with Tesla. The drivers they provide charging to cannot access Tesla's more reliable network. So up till now, CCS drivers just had to put up with how terrible the other networks are. They literally don't have a choice. But soon they will. Once CCS drivers can choose Tesla's network, every other charging provider will need to get their act together, or no one will use them and they will die. To be clear, I don't want them to die. And so long as they have half a brain somewhere in the C-suite, they'll grab hold of the lifeline Tesla just threw them. Making NACS a real standard and making it speak the same protocols as CCS means a simple cable swap will allow Electrify America or whoever else to sell their services to Tesla drivers. At least most Tesla drivers. I won't get into the fiasco that is the Tesla cars that can't speak CCS. Honestly, releasing their connector to the wild is without a doubt the most altruistic thing Tesla has ever done, and I applaud them for following through on their stated goal of accelerating electrification and not just their own sales. But now, back to what I had already scripted. Let me tee up the next sentence. While the transition to NACS might be pretty seamless, there is still a pretty big wrinkle though, and that's cars like mine. Hyundai and Kia decided to develop an 800-volt battery architecture for the eGMP platform. It's an amazing battery pack, and at least when I'm on the right charger, I have repeatedly experienced real-world charge times of less than 20 minutes. And while we now know that Tesla's connector can support charge...
Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 9:41 p.m. Now, so Google can improve. Let me make sure I heard you correctly. I think you said, what time is it? Was that right?
Yes!
Thanks for helping to improve Assistant for everyone.
hell is going on? I never. There you go. There you go. There you go. I'm done with the coupon. Make it say though. If you want to come on me. Beep, 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 beep. If you want to step to the 1, 2, 3. Went straight you know. Yes, round up and give that shit to the St. Jude's place. Done with that coupon. Yes, round up. Okay, Google. What time is Domino's on Irving Park open until?
Domino's Pizza is open until 1 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay, Google. What time does Domino's Pizza on Irving Park Road close tonight?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
God, really? Wait, type it into Google then. Stupid Google. Oh, it says 1 a.m. 1 a.m. So I'm going to go play a game of Apex.
Ready to go. See? Amateur hour is over. Time for the big leagues. Introducing your champion.
Drop there.
Respawn beacon over there.
You might be of use to me yet.
Hold on tight. It's time to drop, shock, and rock.
I wouldn't go over there if I were you.
First blood. FNGs always go first. Champion out. Ring countdown. Ring far, ladies. Oscar Mike.
Escape's not an option.
Listen up, the ring be closing in 1 minute.
Flatline here.
Check it. Got some materials for us.
45 seconds. Ring's far.
Gone check it. Got some materials for us.
Just try to escape. C7 Scout here. Got some materials.
Listen up, the ring's moving.
I need a backpack.
Let's reposition there.
We're spread out. Can't escape.
Extra supplies over here.
My ultimate's ready. We can take this trident. So what if I have a death wish and can't drive? Get in the car. There's a new kill leader, and it isn't me.
Looks like a care package is coming in. Big things in that.
That's enough of you. You can't escape death.
Got materials. Got materials. Cover me. Crafting.
Don't go thinking I owe you anything. Escape's not an option. Let's see if we get lucky.
Loot Marvin here.
Backpack here. Level 1.
You can craft one.
You can't escape death.
Backpack here. Level 2.
Listen up, I'm calling a lifeline package in. Enemy over there. Todd, let's explore. spotted.
Just try and escape.
That's it for me. I'm bouncing.
Enemy spotted. Broke their shield now. Last one down and a boom boom.
Recharging shield.
Reload. Hailstorm if you need it.
Recharging shields.
Taking a knee. Patching up. Replicator touching down.
Come on, say hello. Hailstorm, car SMG here.
Give my shield a recharge.
Nice fight.
Evo shield here. Level 3.
Predator ring close. Looky here. My ultimate is ready.
I have an evac tower.
Seconds. Ring ain't close.
No escaping me.
I have an evac tower as well.
Evac tower.
Oh, you're gonna use it?
3-0. Rings close. Hostile spotted. Firing. Hostile. My marker.
Push them.
Check your right side. I thought I heard shooting coming over there. Oh, I didn't make that.
You won't escape. Casting a shadow.
Oh, painless. Knocking at the door.
Here's your back. We're taking out the killer. Good luck.
Attention. Delivering care package.
Care package out there.
Get moving.
Just try to escape.
I can drop a drone behind me if you guys need it, but
No escape.
Round 3. Beginning ring countdown.
Hailstorm if you need. Hail's over here.
Attention. Delivering replicator. Eyes up. Incoming replicator.
Escape's not an option.
You want to go to that fight, or wait and make him push us?
Let's go that way.
There's a guy out there. We're gonna get hit from behind. We're gonna get squeezed if we stay right here. If we stay here, we're gonna get squeezed. We're gonna get someone coming from behind us and someone coming from the front of
Hey,
us.
back up, back.
Because you know that fight's coming right there, and there's some fight right there. There's people over. There's a fight over to the right, and there's a fight over to the left. We can hang here for a minute. That's right, robot. They're coming to us.
Got company out there.
Might be something good this way.
You shooting? You getting whipped? Yeah, I would let them whiff. Let's go this way. Let's go all the way around on these dudes. Let them go back to the other fight.
Wait till the zone closes, see where it goes. Alright, there we go.
We're
That's
doing great. Only 2 enemy squads. Heat shield here. That should get you out of a jam. Hostile over there.
They just took a zip line, one of those. Why can't I drop this thing?
we're inside.
There's a box over here.
I think we hold out here. We know there's a team coming this way.
Got a hop up here. Boosted loader.
He's led. Off the mic. Spotted. Giving him the shimmy.
Contact with I-Style.
On me. Two.
Tango near me.
In the building.
Company. We got company. Let's relocate here.
Reloading. Listen up, I'm getting shot at. Help John if you need it. Just giving my shields a recharge. Say what? We're all inside this ring.
Tango near me.
Just giving my shields a recharge.
Scrappy, can you come res me?
Quick line, I gotcha.
Heads up, they might be coming down the stairs where I just crawled.
Give my shields a recharge.
This guy's hurt bad. I don't know why I missed him. Fuck me. God damn it. He's hurt bad. Oh, he just killed me. Oh. What were you doing? I just picked you up right there. All you had to do was turn around and shoot him.
I'm sorry it had to be this way. You are not the one I'm after.
Rageless Mage says, GG.
Fuck you, GG. It would have been my one, bitch. Oh! Float pay, motherfuckers!
You want some time to eat your chips? Nope. Okay. I'm engineering selected. Let's go. Oh, wow. Wait, not anymore. There's some ice in that. No. It's justice. Alpha bricks. It's just ice. Okay. Justice. Yeah. Point is, yes, please, Dan. Thank you. Actually, you know what? Let's do that after. Let's get the show going first. You want to get him to? He's gonna be busy with merch messages.
Big things are coming for us.
You want?
Pick me, I'm so bored.
I could be it. Is it not 8? Yeah. Oh! No, it's not 8. It's E. I was right, though. Remember? I called when the show was gonna start. I can still make you low. I also everything that's selected and just go live without you. Not true. You can't do that. I will have that man plan. Oh, my faster. Let's make sure we go live. Well, we can water if you want. Dark mode pop out.
Eeny, meeny, miny. How about that? Non terribles ultra!
The reason why he doesn't care, I should probably clarify this for you, is we have to have just a giant bright white anyway, so it really doesn't like. And also just don't care. It looks freaking out.
I don't use dark mode on anything. I use whatever is the default on everything. And so like I used to customize everything. Like,
I do light
all
mode.
my different themes, window blinds, whatever.
I do light modes at work all the time. And I generally do dark modes at home.
My problem is I get used to something, and then I reformat because I especially used to do that a lot, or I'm working on test bench systems or whatever else, and then it's not what I'm used to. And
That's why I can't use Dvorak. I've always really wanted to learn Dvorak, but then I'm like, I use different systems all the time, and I use other people's computers pretty often. Like, I don't want it to feel really weird whenever I have to go back to QWERTY. Dvorak is sick, but yeah. Dark mode WAN doc? Yeah, Google Docs dark mode is like really kind of rough. What? He's trying to make me wrong? I don't care.
No.
Oh.
I'm just eating my chips. Okay. Okay. Alright, I got this.
I've tried to switch and even had the keyboard. Oh! Is it going okay, Rod?
Who's that?
Rod.
Oh, hey.
Rod.
Are you coming to,
Me?
Yeah. Are you gonna come too? Hang with Rob?
When? What?
Wait, we talked about it online show, right? Rod's coming to softball day?
Oh, yeah, I might come to like hang out, but I probably won't be able to play. When is it? Don't tell me.
Yeah, why don't I give you the address too?
Yeah, nice.
Why don't I also tell you, like, you know, the names of all the family members of all of our staff?
Oh, cool. That's good. Yeah. That'd be very handy.
It's gross. Oh,
Visually
100%.
McCloven says, you can craft banner just dip.
I don't know
He
how.
liked them though. He knows they're bad, but he likes them anyway.
Go to the replicator. I'll put it on your map.
Okay.
No, they're garbage. Like, they suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I'm
we
going
have
to the one
use
up
those
here to
in
the
the
left then.
It's the...
You want
like
some
little
nostalgia
blue- it's
before
like
land
little
It's like sports day.
I can't go to this thing?
Me, that's pre-cut blankets.
What the fuck? This thing is tracking me. There's a drone tracking me.
Yeah, he's controlling it.
Before I have just...
Can I go here?
Just one.
Okay, wait a minute. Alright, on your
That's what you
map,
want, Justice?
that little like blue diamond
No.
looking thing, or
Okay,
hexagon,
Justice.
whatever the fuck it is, you can go to that and you can craft my
There.
banner with materials.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't have any materials right now.
Man. What is that? It's not a rapper name, right?
There
Like,
should
what
be more
would Big
materials
Justice
around
be?
that area. You just pick them up.
I think it
Male
could
stripper
be.
name?
I think Big
Okay, I think you're good to be into my death.
Stripper Judge.
Oh my goodness.
See, like them,
Comes out with
them
the
little blue
I think
tube
Thick
things on your
Justice
map,
could
those are
absolutely be like a female rapper name.
I think it's more stripper than rapper.
There's a bunch of hostiles out there.
I mean, when you can.
Yeah, just
You
let,
can
let,
just
let them do
let-
their little thing.
Is it not all the same? No, they're very different. Oh, 100%. Okay, let's roll this thing.
Target spotted.
I'm resuming the selected now.
Attention. There is a new kill leader.
Greetings, fair viewers, and you are come well to the WAN show. Been playing Baldur's Gate? For we have a no, actually. For we have a fine show for you.
I don't know if this is a good
Actually,
place for me to stay, my
Well,
friend.
it's going
What
to be a
the
bit of a
fuck?
dramatic show today. We don't normally weigh in on drama, but the way that I see it, the whole thing with XQC and H3 and also like basically everyone else on the internet isn't really drama so much as it is something that we need
Do
to
I
talk
need-
about because it affects the space that we're
How do I
in
do it?
a lot. And I also want to just kind of talk about personal echo chambers a little bit. So we're going to be digging into that.
How do I do
In other
this?
news, CNET is deleting thousands of old articles in an apparent attempt to game their Google search rankings. We're going to be talking about all the things that are wrong and terrible
I don't
about
see
that
shit.
we got going on.
Bots beat humans at CAPTCHA, so every CAPTCHA that you're filling in is actually just useless.
I didn't see no
It's a
craft
main
banner
topic.
bullshit.
You pick that over the,
Yeah, what else?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I can't even, like, I've had a hard time picking the fourth one, which I know is a meme at this point, but it's actually difficult sometimes. I was gonna go with YouTube bans, links, and shorts, but, like, do I care? Not really. I don't know. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Also, the drama, because we only talk about drama when it's someone that you've either built a computer for or fixed their computer. Got him. Roll it. Let's go.
Also Pokemon.
Fuck!
Ah, GG, bro.
That led to my villa.
This dumb shit. I'm gonna do one more.
Uh-oh. I was trying to finish my chip before that happened. The show is brought to you by Thorum, MSI, and The Ridge. All right, let's jump right into our main topic here. Here's a summary of the, I don't know, let's
Just
call
in
it
case you need another one.
sequence of events. On July 24th, XQC uploaded a video reacting to YouTuber Lemino's 1 hour, 38-minute long documentary about the Kennedy assassination. 3 days later, YouTuber Mudahar retweets Bub Films calling out the extreme lack of transformative input in XQC's React video. A lengthy Twitter fight ensues, which is very unusual for both Mudahar and XQC. Mudahar?
I'm pretty sure it's Muda.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
All right.
All
Could
right,
be wrong,
cool.
but I think it is.
On August 1st, XQC is called out again by YouTuber Neo for clicking play on Neo's video, walking out of the room, then returning 10 minutes later. Neo also posted his video analytics showing no XQC bump in viewers. Riley has a note here, although this was early data and compelling evidence for either side has been woefully lacking in discussions around React content, so it's a pretty hard thing to prove. I can contribute some of my own experience, even though that is anecdotal evidence at best, based on data though, and from what I've been able to see, it does not contribute much. I would say it really depends, and all comes down to that whole fair use discussion, doesn't it? It depends on the nature of the transformative work. For example, when streamers reacted to our review of the Starforge Systems computer that we bought, there was a small, I would say longer than usual tail on that video for viewership, but we did not see a significant bump. When Mr. Beast included our gold controller in one of his Beast Reacts to Things videos, there was literally nothing. Not negligible, not like 3 views, like literally nothing over the regular background noise of viewership on that series of videos. However, with that said, there have been situations where we have gotten significant viewership, and I'd say one of the best examples is when there is back and forth drama, where the positive feedback loop that is created by that. Say, for example, I mean, since it's topical, when XQC built a computer, I reacted to it in, I believe, a quite transformative way. We cut out a lot of the extraneous content, reacted with solutions to the challenges that he was experiencing. And like our video was a fraction of the length of his, even with what I had added. So we cut out noise. We very much transformed the content. When he reacted to us reacting, and then we reacted to him reacting to us reacting, it did create a snowball effect, which I think is at least part of where that React community gets the idea that reaction content can generate notoriety and can generate traction for the other participants. And there have been well-documented cases where especially very small channels have been called out by large creators and end up blowing up. But you're asking for kind of a perfect storm where that large creator reacts in a very transformative way, and also that small creator, in the best case scenario, has other related content that people who land on their channel can then go watch. So it turns from, your worst case scenario is you give them nothing. Your middle case scenario is you give them a view on the original video, but generally relies on you not showing too much of it in the first place. And the best case scenario is you generate a recurring viewer. And I'm not necessarily going to be saying subscriber, because that term kind of doesn't mean what it used to. A subscriber doesn't mean that you just have a locked-in captive audience viewer. It just means that someone has indicated that they're interested in seeing your future content. So that's your ideal outcome. On August 3rd, on the H3 podcast, and I'd like to make it very clear that with the, I have a very limited personal relationship with both of these people. At least I have exchanged DMs on Twitter with both of them. With XQC, we've reacted back and forth a couple times. I was in LA, going to Disneyland with my kids, and I showed up at his house and fixed his computer. We made a video while we were there. And then with Ethan, basically we've like DM'd back and forth a couple of times over the years, and that's it. So I'm telling you guys, you know, my entire sort of personal history with these guys.
Framed LOL says,
and I want to make it really clear that I don't really have a dog in this race. Neither of them are BFFs with me or anything like that. For both of them, there are things about them that I respect, and I'd like to make that very clear. I mean, you gotta respect the hustle, and I think both cases. You've got to respect with Ethan his ability to reinvent himself. I think that's something that he's done particularly well. But I also think that both of them have had challenging episodes.
I don't know what the fuck you were doing. You were on me.
Am I getting myself canceled, Luke?
I don't think so.
Am I setting any hordes of...
It might be humbling to say that we have as well.
Oh, we have. You can trust me, bro, about that. That's a joke. That's the joke.
That's a good one.
Anywho.
I don't know if they were on the same level, but they've happened.
So, on the H3 podcast, Ethan Klein criticized XQC and, hilariously, also criticized his own podcast co-host, Twitch streamer Hassan, who we have also built a computer for producing low-effort reaction content with little to no creative input. Now, this is where things move into what happened this week. For those of you who don't get the title, okay, where I've got the GPU on my wrist, we are getting to that. On August 7th, XQC debated Ethan on the H3 podcast, admitting, basically, that he wasn't concerned about the legality of ripping content and referred to his own YouTube reaction
Buddy went all the way over there? What the fuck?
Non-transformative dog shit. The debate eventually devolved into XQC proving that his viewers would watch anything he does by doing The Worm, which I apparently have a link to. Ahead, and we're going to transformatively laugh. No, it doesn't matter. Have you seen this, Luke?
No. I didn't follow any of this.
Okay, a couple things here. First of all, that's actually not the worm.
Someone, okay, I have to give
90s
credit
kids will know that is not the worm.
It's not, but I have to give credit to Wired Rope and Twitch Chat who said forbidden technique. I think that's fair enough. It is the worm, forbidden technique.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Okay. And anyway, on the
Are you hacking? How are you going across the map
on
like
my
that?
wrist meme, which came from.
Bro,
and
what
again,
is
I
this?
want to be very clear that
Hello?
I think both sides have had some challenges here. Oh, okay. We apparently don't
Can
have
you
the
get me a
original one.
win?
I obviously think that XQC's DM to Ethan, basically signing off from the conversation, saying, "And don't forget, I've got your whole house on my wrist," with a picture of a watch
He
and
has
some
since
nail bracelet.
said that was supposed to be mostly a joke because it's nowhere near the value of Ethan's actual house.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea.
I can't tell anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I actually can't tell.
Half of the squads have been removed.
Yeah. Okay.
I have no idea.
Anyway, at least we got this meme out of it. So, and we also got the title of today's WAN show. So, there's a couple things that I want to kind of talk about here. First of all, XQC's primary defense of his content appeared. Oh, right, I had wanted to clarify. I'm generally not in support of people leaking DMs. I actually don't think that's super cool. I also don't think that was a very funny joke. I think it's funny to mock saying something like that to anyone, but I don't think it's ever. For a wealthy person to even make a joke about how much more money they have than you, I think is never in good taste.
Okay, so I agree, but does it change it that they're both hyper wealthy?
I don't know.
Like if,
You know what?
Google
This
is
is a
correct,
really great question.
if Google is correct,
Yeah.
He's got a $9 million mansion in Bel Air. So like,
So if Bezos, and Gates get into it, Bezos is like, don't forget I could dock the yacht in my yacht. Is that a cool way to behave at all?
oh, I don't think it's
Does it matter?
not true. Does that make it a joke? Because I don't know if some watches are real wild. Like I have no idea what the actual reality is.
Yeah, it's apparently a couple $100,000. So no, it's definitely not the value.
And XQC has said, like,
Yes.
I know it wasn't the value. I know what his house is like.
Sure.
I was just making a joke.
But if Bezos knew that Gates' yacht doesn't fit inside his yacht, and remember, there's the context that this is not, a cordial relationship at this point, right? So if it's between,
here's a spicy take on that.
I think I see where you're going, and I kind of like it here.
We have no idea that this is not a cordial relationship because we have a lot of evidence, exhaustive evidence, that YouTubers have manufactured drama in the past.
So you got like Paul Brothers.
Yes.
That's a prime example of
There's
that.
videos of one of the Paul brothers driving up to the other one, them discussing how they're going to fight, how they're going to shoot it, what angles they're going to get, all this kind of stuff, and then pulling away, driving back up, and doing it. There is exhaustive evidence of this being a thing. And what is the absolute biggest thing on the internet for the last, week?
Drama!
Yeah, they all love it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. All of this stuff just seems so fake.
However, there's stuff here that's more than just words. And that's the real reason that I want to talk about this. Because no, this is not a drama podcast, but what it is about technology and about the YouTube space and the inside baseball of the creator industry. And I think the actions speak louder than the words here, regardless of any drama,
put on that
fabricated or
fence for me.
real.
What the fuck?
XQC
Why would you do that?
has clearly indicated that he has knowingly ripped off people's content to their detriment and doesn't intend to change anything about it. Actually, I don't think he's acknowledged that it's to their detriment. He's definitely acknowledged that he's ripped it off and isn't contributing anything. So I would say that by just following some basic logic, he has admitted that no, it is not covered by fair use, and therefore he is ripping it off to their detriment. That's like actually how that works. His primary defense of his content appears to consist of these major points. One, that there's little to no evidence directly showing that React content, even if it is non-transformative, harms the creator. Whether it helps or hurts the original content is like
There's another
heavily
team there.
dependent on the content, the reactor, how soon the reaction is posted.
Get back to me
audience
if you can,
overlap,
please. Do not.
etc.
I'm not pushing that.
And
I'm not
that's
going there, buddy.
very true,
I'm
but
moving back to my
that's sort
spot.
of part of the whole conversation about fair use. Is that yes,
Yeah, good job. Get
it
back
is
here.
dependent on those things, and your actions do not account for those things.
Get back!
Also, XQC claims that every time he is approached by someone asking him not to react, he acts in accordance with their requests. However, his creator liaison process appears to happen after React videos are posted, not before, and that is also not a valid defense. If people happen to be home and they tell me not to rob their house, I don't rob it anymore.
You're there.
Like, for real, though, that's actually the parallel that is a valid analogy here, so it's kind of ridiculous.
We're in up here.
One of his other defenses is that he is very
up
wealthy and successful.
We can go this side of it, or we can
He
go
also
that
claims
side.
that the current laws governing copyright
you wanna
are
do?
old and
You want to come
defunct.
across?
He
You want to
predicts
stay up
that
here?
the
You want to
new
go on the
landscape
inside of it, or you want to go to
eventually
the
move toward
outside of it?
looser interpretations.
I'm going outside then.
So, I guess here's what I really want to talk about. Is it dangerous to live in an echo chamber where everyone supports you no matter what you do? Because I think the biggest problem here is actually not XQC. And I think the biggest problem here is not Hassan or, I don't know, Asmongold. I'm throwing out names. These are not necessarily people who do a good job, people who do a bad job.
There's
Adviland, you know, whatever, Sniper Wolf, SS Sniper, I don't know how to pronounce it, it doesn't matter. The point is, it's not whether they're doing a good job or whether they're doing a bad job, it's the way that the parasocial relationships with these people seem to lead people to support them, whether what they're doing is right or wrong. And to quote one of my favorite lines in Faulty Towers, this is exactly how Nazi Germany started. It's a joke. But also only sort of.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just don't care. Like, actually, at all.
45 seconds, rings close.
I know that's like an unfortunate path forward, but I think it's like when we're talking about community stuff, echo chambers and things like that, I think the amount of community people, not creator people, but community people, that are against React content is actually very low.
Yeah.
And I think if that wasn't the case, if that wasn't the case, I don't think we would see it be as prevalent as it is.
Well, it's obvious that, you know, it's kind of like telling people, like, are you against house robbery? And they're like, yeah. Like, well, are you against getting stuff for cheap at a pawn shop? No.
Yeah. They have to use reap the rewards of the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, this video is 6% better if I watch it through my favorite streamer than if I watch it through the actual content creator. Therefore, I don't care at all about any time.
It's also right here.
Yeah.
It's so convenient. It's
you don't
basically
even have to change the channel.
It's being fed to me. I don't have to think. I don't even have to let the YouTube algorithm think for me. I actually just get to let my favorite streamer. Well, realistically, my favorite streamer's like content manager or like moderation team.
Yeah.
Just pick content for me to consume.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm kind of reminded of this time that I was in, I think, grade 11, and I was a student aide in a grade 8 or grade 9 English class, and I was trying to help this one individual in the class improve their assignment or something like that. Like I was trying to give constructive criticism for how they could, you know, English better. And she was, oops, didn't even mean to give a gender, but oh well. It doesn't really